People are killing themselves. They are anxious. They are depressed. They are lonely. That is why we need to end it, more than any inconvenience that it's been to the rest of us. I think...
What do you think? President Trump picture that? Do you think you played with the political
It's a great asset. More inflation. What a stupid son of a bitch.
Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
What's going on, the BBs? I'm Siraj Hashmi.
I'm Mujahed Kobbe.
We're the Habibi Bros. Welcome to another episode of Habibi Power Hour. Jay, how you doing?
I am doing wonderful. Just got down from the mountains, set up there. Like Muhammad
I was like
before me.
More of a valley type of person, if you know.
Well, I live. Oh, well, I like going up and down that crack from time to time. 7 times to be exact.
We don't want to waste any more time because we got a very special guest joining us this evening on a very well, you'll get to see it for yourself. Get in here, Susanna McIntyre, the president and CEO of the Atheist Republic. Susanna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. You have no idea how excited I am to be here. I've been a Habibti since the beginning. And I feel like I'm a hidden Habibti because, well, one, I got banned off of Twitter, so I can't really interact with people there. And then two, it's also a running joke in my community that I'm a secret Shia. So I'm like a real Habibti.
Absolutely. You're checking all the boxes.
Hold on. Are you saying that whenever a disaster happens in the world, you're responsible for it?
Exactly.
There we go. I knew it.
Perfect.
I knew she was a Shia. Anyways. So, all right. So quickly explain to me why there's this running joke that you're a Shia.
Oh, because I'm fascinated with studying Shiism. Well, I'm fascinated with studying Islam in general, but I have a special fascination in my heart for Shiism. I think as an ex-Catholic, I relate to the self-flagellation and crying a lot. It seems very familiar to my heart.
Yeah, it seems like we do that to ourselves on Twitter all day long. So, the fact that you're now no longer on Twitter, I guess you can't enjoy the luxury of self-flagellating. Or is it? Oh, wait, but there are also some who self-fillet too, like Jay. In fact, he had a rib removed to self-fillet a little bit more than others.
That was between
I'm
you
not
and
gifted
me
in that
DC.
capacity.
Yeah. So where can people find you if they want to look you up and follow you on social media or online?
Well, mainly it would be like our YouTube channel that we have, so that'd just be Atheist Republic. We have the main English channel, and then we also have channels in Farsi, Arabic, and we recently have started one in South Africa, which is awesome. But in terms of me personally, I'm just being a square over the only thing I have left standing is like Instagram, really, and so my Instagram is at triple dimpled because I have 3 dimples. So.
Oh wow, odd number. That's gotta drive anyone with OCD nuts.
Oh, totally.
I hope you don't have OCD. I hope you don't have OCD because the unevenness will probably really set them off.
Nah, not really.
That's good. It's good.
So why did you get banned off of Twitter?
I actually don't know. Like, Twitter never told me. In the emails that you get, when you violate policies or whatever, usually they are very specific about what policy you violated. I still don't know to this day, even when I appealed. So I suspect it was because of the targeted mass reporting and mass harassment campaigns that were against me from Hindu ethno-nationalists on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so explain that. Did you come to blows with the Hindu nationalists?
Yes. So It's because of there's a longer story and a longer context, but the short version is that my organization engaged in some blasphemy against the Hindu goddess Kali Ma, and all hell broke loose. We have like police reports filed against us in India because of it. There's an issue with us before the Supreme Court of India, specifically citing our blasphemy as a reason why there should be these like authoritative government bodies to monitor social media and pull hate speech off of platforms a lot sooner, which doesn't sound authoritarian at all. Yeah, it like I could go on for days. It's a huge mess, but basically, yeah, these hardcore Hindu extremists really took that personally, and they haven't stopped going after us since. It's been like over a year and a half now.
Man, if only they were Pakistani, you could say they're butt hurt. Oh, who gets that joke? And does anyone get that joke? That's such a niche Pakistani joke right there.
What's funny though is that these they're so unhinged. They would accuse me of being Pakistani. Like they have no and I actually became like I've experienced anti-Muslim bigotry through these people, because their mentality or their understanding is the only reason why someone would be going after or criticizing Hinduism is because they're a Muslim. So you have criticism of Hinduism, you must be a Muslim. And yeah, I've been subjected to a lot of really vile, disgusting shit because of it.
Definitely explains why you're Shia.
So they told me that I was an ISI agent, that I'm a secret Catholic jihadi. Like, I'm not even kidding.
A Catholic jihadi. I wonder how that would work.
That actually sounds amazing. Cool.
Right?
You know, Susanna, I got to hand it to you. I thought I could fit more things into a Twitter bio over the course of the last few months. You seem to have outdone me in just like the first few minutes of this episode. Are you an incel as well?
Actually, lately I've been able to break that. So no.
I was just gonna say, you probably, because that's basically everyone's been sort of, holding that over me, that they can at least say they're not a boomer incel, unemployed boomer incel like me, unemployed gay incel boomer lib,
Muslim boomer.
So. Muslim boomer. Sorry, see, like all the labels keep coming. So come. Anyways, let's get back to the ethno-nationalists. Have you any status on that current episode? I mean, what the hell is going on now? Are you still? Are you like in fear of your life? Are you in fear of your life right now?
Oh, I'm not actively in fear of my life. I'm very lucky to not be under Indian jurisdiction. Like a lot of the stuff that I deal with would not be a laughing matter if I lived in a different area. But I feel safe and secure where I am. I have had some incidents that were scary, but I can't really talk about that publicly. I can maybe tell you guys after the show.
I'm sure. That sounds kind of crazy.
So it usually is just like a threat online and it stays that way. Or sometimes they like to like spam a lot of like deep fake porn of me getting raped to my inboxes and stuff.
Oh my God.
And that's like not even as bad as it gets. But I don't really fear for my life in terms of what's going on. We've had a number of legal cases filed against the founder of my nonprofit, my organization. His name is Armin Navabi. And he was the one who like initially did the big blasphemy that got such a big reaction. And there's also a case in the Delhi High Court right now that the Delhi High Court has basically told Twitter that they have to remove like our tweets because they break the laws. And there's another hearing coming up in February. Yeah, so India actually does have a blasphemy law. It's the same area of the penal code that's used in Pakistan for blasphemy, which was a leftover from the British era, 295A.
Yes, and actually, interesting story about the blasphemy law in Pakistan. The governor of Punjab, Shabazz Taseer. I'm sorry, Salman Taseer.
Salman,
Taseer. I actually am good friends with his family. I went to school. His son, Shariar Taseer, and I were classmates at Lahore American School. My older sister
this
dated.
Is crazy.
Yeah. My older sister briefly dated Shabazz, and then Shabazz was kidnapped shortly after Salman Taseer was gunned down in 2011 for defending what was it?
Asia Bibi.
Asia Bibi, yes, Asia Bibi for alleged blasphemy of the Prophet Muhammad, and his own bodyguard basically emptied the clip on him, and then was hailed as a hero. Subsequently, was put on trial and found guilty of murder, and then sentenced to death. And now his tomb is turned into a shrine for basically everyone who wants to uphold the blasphemy law.
He's a martyr. He's celebrated as a martyr.
Yeah, he's a martyr. Absolutely.
The reason why I was kind of smiling as you said that, this is crazy. This is a small world. Like, I know his other son, Sean. Like, this is a painting by Sean Taseer right here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually met Sean.
Oh, he's a sweetheart. He does amazing work.
Is he older than Shabazz and Shariar? Okay,
yeah, so Sean had to leave Pakistan because there was a fatwa put on his head as well because of his speaking out against the blasphemy law. And he has an amazing organization now called Pakistan for All, and it's towards really protecting religious minorities in Pakistan. Like, he's a hero of mine. He's an incredible person.
That's great. That's wonderful, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, wait a second, what?
So, as the only person who's not an atheist here, as someone who firmly believes in God and actually identifies as Muslim, despite the fact that Susanna is somehow a secret Shia and faces more anti-Muslim bigotry than I do. Let's talk about your journey. It's all tequila, exactly.
Yeah.
I think it is a good time to expound upon your journey, and I think Jay, you've also had a very similar, I don't know if you've had a very similar journey or spiritual experience or lack of thereof, but I'm just opening the floor. How did you get to be where you are?
Me or Susanna?
Me first.
No, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up, Jay.
I apologize.
So I grew up in a Catholic family. And we weren't like fundamentalists or anything, but so I grew up in Seattle, and in comparison to the very, liberal kind of alternative culture of Seattle, the community that I grew up in, and particularly my family, was noticeably more conservative. And I realized I've just kind of like been a black sheep my whole life. And I realized at a very early age that, around the age of like 14, that I was bisexual. And so to kind of really like cognitively thrive and survive, I had to like leave faith for emotional reasons, instead of, really living under this feeling and belief that I was inherently flawed, that I was an abomination. So, but like I just said, I kind of left for emotional reasons. So I realize now, looking back, that I still treated myself as if I was bad for not following God's laws, even though I didn't really believe in God, or I made the active decision not to follow. I still put a really harsh judgment on myself and treated myself badly because I did think that I was bad for not following these tenets in a way. And then a few years ago, I was going through a lot of stuff, a real period of change and struggle, and I deal with a lot of like religious trauma. So I was trying to understand kind of like how this happened to me, and the processes of indoctrination, basically. And so I started studying cult psychology because it's just something that's very interesting to me. And then through that, I started studying critical thinking in a very structured, formal way. And that really helped me grow as a person. It changed me completely politically. And then as exercises for fun, I would go watch debates between like someone from X faith and then an X from that faith. And that's when I started to approach the question of faith from a more rational and logical perspective. And I think that really helped me have a better quality of life, because I realized, why am I judging myself as bad and treating myself badly for something that, when I think about rationally, I personally believe there isn't evidence of its existence. So I shouldn't treat myself poorly for not following something I don't even believe exists. That's like a very overarching short version of the story.
Jay.
So when I was 16, I found out that I'm playing.
When you were 16, you found that you loved abs.
Well, yeah, when I was around 16, well, 19 actually. Like I was very I was very Muslim growing up. My dad is still very conservative Muslim. Like he has no idea about me drinking or not being a Muslim or any of that kind of stuff, because he doesn't need to know, and I don't need to hurt him. But it was never really something that I want to say after I turned 21, I just started really asking questions on Islam itself. And there were things that couldn't be answered if it was by like a sheikh, or if it was by my dad, or if it was somebody, because they all say the same type of answers, and there was nothing new to come from a lot of them. And then when I finally moved back to the States, like 8 years ago or something, I had more access to YouTube and to a lot of different information out there, because in Abu Dhabi, it's very restrictive. They don't have debate videos. They don't have videos of, Sam Harris is blocked over there, all that kind of stuff. You can't find anything like that there. And out of all my research, I couldn't find any hadith on the benefits of eating ass, how to eat ass, and why we should. And because of that, like, I honestly felt like I didn't belong whatsoever. There was not one that said, Abu Bakr saw Prophet Muhammad cleaning and preparing ass for dinner. It just didn't happen. So
I think it would be a narration from Aisha. Come on.
Well, Aisha would have loved it. Absolutely.
Oh my god. That's how the fatwa gets put out there in Pakistan.
Right. It will be. And also bacon is delicious. Bacon is really good. It's great stuff.
Yeah. So I understand I'm out of focus right now, and I guess it's probably for the best, honestly. What is a Habibi Power? What is a Habibi Power Hour without me going out of focus? So
well, also it helps when the blasphemy was happening, you go out of focus.
That's true. That
It's God.
I'm now forsaken.
Allah is protecting you.
Forsaken me.
He's protecting you.
He's blurring me like you blur images of the Prophet Muhammad.
Right. Or you know how hentai blurs out the bad parts.
You mean the face?
No, like penises.
Susanna, you caught us on a great night. We're feeling extra limber.
I love it. Are you kidding me? I'm here for all of it. I know what I signed up for.
Good. Okay,
this
good.
Is nothing in comparison to the stuff that Jay sends me. He terrorizes my DMs.
Well, he does spend part of his life with Hezbollah, so that actually kind of fits the brand.
Hey, it was a one detour. I didn't mean it.
It was a one-time thing.
It was a one thing. They handed out flyers. They said there was cake. I went over to see what was happening. They said Jews had to die. I said, but where's the cake?
Okay,
the cake
so
first.
somewhat of a prodding question. Now,
Mhm.
what is your overall mission at Atheist Republic? Now, is it that you are opposed to organized religion, or is it that you're opposed to faith altogether, or belief in God, I should say?
I am, well, as an organization, we are really focused around providing a community for people who have left religion because
Mhm.
for a lot of, for, um, in society, you know, religion does have a lot of pro-social benefits. Mainly the benefits of community and having a place to go and a place to belong. And
Right.
people do experience a lack of belongingness, or oftentimes active rejection when they do leave religion. And so, providing a community is a really amazing way to really save lives a lot of times. And in particular, we provide a lot of community online because we have a focus on countries where apostasy is criminalized. So there are 10 countries around the world where apostasy is punishable by death. And so for a lot of these people, online is the only place where they can really kind of safely pursue that community and express themselves.
And
So
before I let you continue, those 10 countries, do they rhyme with Fuslim?
no, but they all have something in that vein in common.
Okay.
And pretty conspicuously. So we're really focused around providing a community for atheists, giving them a voice, and we have it as a personal passion to really protect free expression, promote free expression and other enlightenment values. Because obviously, if there was a actual protection of freedom of expression or freedom of religion in these areas, that people wouldn't have experiences like that, or it wouldn't be carried out and punished by the state.
Mhm.
And in terms of the question that you asked me, I personally have a problem with faith itself. I'm not someone who tries to tell people what to think. I hope that I give people tools to help them think for themselves. And so I do try to talk a lot about critical thinking skills and also how to identify destructive organizations or destructive ideologies. And so my issue with faith is the use of faith as a methodology for establishing truth, I believe, is fundamentally flawed. And so we have an issue with, yeah, not only the conclusions that you reach through religion. I believe we could all identify like bad conclusions that people reach because of religion, but that we also have an issue with the methodology of faith itself.
So if there was like one prime example that comes to mind, where would you say, like, in terms of faith and organized religion, society as a whole has reached sort of the wrong conclusion that gets away from truth?
Male circumcision. I
Hmm.
think male circumcision is a crime against children, and we just accept it.
They stole
And
my penis without my consent. I did when I was born. Right, it's right there. I see every day. In the morning, I see it. And it's like, how could they do this to me?
But like,
How?
actually, it's crazy.
It is. It really is.
If you think about it, it's insane. If someone did that to an adult male, they'd be put in jail for it. But this is accepted that we do it to children.
Okay.
And I don't think it receives the level of outrage that it should.
Female
genital mutilation receives a lot of outrage, but I think it's very sexist that we are not outraged about what we do to little boys on a daily basis.
So I was not prepared for this answer, Susanna, because no one gives a shit about men's penises, let alone our balls, more than apparently you do.
And I will wear that proudly, sir.
Yeah, you will wear this foreskin proudly.
Yeah, all the missing foreskins, all around
all the
world.
missing foreskin. So, I don't even know where to begin really with this because, you just do you view it more as like a consent issue? Is that what it is?
Partially, it's partially a consent issue. The vast majority of the time is completely medically unnecessary, and I think it's a horrible experience to inflict upon a child. Period.
Even if we don't remember it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Fair. I mean,
I'll
just say I don't remember me getting circumcised. It definitely happened, but I don't remember it.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh no!
Saw them strap me down, hold me down. I was just a little 7 pound 8 ounces. It's like that big. My penis was like
big.
Like that big.
It's still that big.
I don't even know how he's able to cut it without missing.
Well, that happens too, and people are botched for life.
Yeah. Well,
for
you also lose
good reason.
You lose sensation. You lose, and there's no reason behind it. There's a
well, besides the fact that God demands blood sacrifice. Well, and also, that's the reason.
When I was growing up, the reason told to us was it's so you could be clean. Not
that was what I was kind of told.
Right.
But you don't buy that, Jay? You don't buy that.
It's been completely disproven.
It's not for health. It's not for cleanliness. It isn't.
Okay. So what do you think it's just for? It's just arbitrary at this point?
It's like she was saying, it's just a religious tradition that was passed down for God knows how long. Maybe 1400 years.
Whoa. Did you just say God knows how long?
And it's to do with the sacrifice, like she was saying, like blood sacrifice for instead of chopping off Adam's head, he not Adam, sorry, but Adam's son, Isaac.
And it's Abraham, sir.
Wow.
The God of Abraham demands blood sacrifice.
It's not Adam?
It's Abraham.
Well, I mean, it is the God of Adam, but it's also the God of Ibrahim.
But Abraham is the father. Yeah, that took him up there. That's right.
Yeah, Jesus, Jay. How are you even sometimes you're a better Muslim than me and you're an atheist, and sometimes it really just shows that you just chose that life. And
it just depends on what we're talking about. Like Abraham, Adam, I mean, sounds similar to me. I don't know.
Yeah. Andrew Dorsey says like 20 to 33% of nerve endings get the axe. Probably served an ancient purpose, but it is pointless now. I kind of got that pun. I don't know if that was intentional, but that was pretty good.
That was a good
one.
Wait, I just got that right now.
It's pretty pointless. So, but that's interesting. I never really thought of it like that. Probably because how do you get people to care about male circumcision?
Oh, I mean, this isn't like something that I'm on the forefront of crusading for, but it is something that I do think matters. I used to actually think it was pointless and stupid. And I remember like once turning on a documentary about the circumcision debate and like literally laughing because I thought like, who cares this much about baby dicks? How ridiculous. But I actually
I mean, talk to a pedophile, they certainly care.
Right. Like, and people who still have baby dicks like me and Siraj.
That's true too. We do care enough about our baby dicks. Exactly.
We do.
But then I realized like my own hypocrisy, and I realized that was actually like a very sexist attitude. And I realized throughout history, cumulatively, how much suffering has been caused by something that I think is completely pointless and unnecessary. And it really bothers me that people, don't take it seriously. Like I mean, all three of us can like automatically think like, oh my God, female genital mutilation. Like, how could you? Like, you know, most places we have a really knee-jerk reaction to that kind of thing. So why is it any different when it happens to an infant boy? That seems wrong to me.
Sure. No, totally get it. So kind of a pivot here. Suzanne, I don't know if you were banned on Twitter. When were you banned on Twitter? Do you remember?
Almost a year ago. Actually, I
Okay,
think
all right,
it was, yeah, like a year ago.
So January 6th. So you were storming the Capitol with everyone else.
That's there, and the truth comes out.
FBI, we got her. Get in here. I mean, they're probably gonna arrest me and Jay first. And
I
then
know,
be like,
right? They just busted.
So I don't know if you have been kind of in the loop of what's going on Twitter, but Jay actually brought this up to me today, and I completely forgot about it. I actually put the Atheist Republic on the list. Do you
Yes, no,
recall this?
I was talking to Jay about this. I woke up one morning and I was checking our Twitter and it was like tagged by Siraj Hashmi. I was like, what? The Siraj? And then I saw this.
There
I
it
started
is.
cackling. I sent this to our founder immediately. I was like, we made the list.
And there you have it. There's
like,
the tweet.
You've listed like some of my the directors on my board too, so I'm like, we're making our way through the organization, baby.
Wow, amazing! So this was the tweet that made the list.
Works so well that it got you banned before you even got listed.
I know, right? So this was the tweet that got. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so when I saw this, Siraj, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, why did Siraj list us for this? So I'm glad that I have the opportunity to talk to you about this.
Yes, please
because
respond.
I want to know how you perceived this, and why you thought it was list worthy.
Sure.
Remember?
Oh, I actually have it written down.
Oh, you do?
So,
oh shit!
Yeah. Yeah, this is before I did away with. This is what I did before I completely did away with explanations written down, and I only focused on explanations over a stream. So this is what I said. Specifically, if God didn't exist, we'd have to create him. I think that even if religion did not exist, there would be extremists that would find a cause to believe in, and people would find any justification, specifically extremists, they would find any justification, regardless of whether religion existed or not, to inflict harm on others. And that's why I believe that this missed the mark.
Okay, that makes sense to me. I mean, I definitely agree with you as someone who was a little bit of a political militant myself in my past. I think.
I mean, as a Shia,
that's
that makes sense. Right? Yeah.
That's interesting. I definitely think I would never say that extremism is exclusive to religion. I was curious about why you listed this. I was wondering if you thought it was in any way like bigoted towards people, in religious people in general,
that's
or
the
Muslims
thing.
Specifically.
That's the thing, is because it didn't actually make any reference to Islam. I didn't list it for the reasons that it was that, people normally list, bigotry. I didn't actually find this bigoted. What I did find it was, if you're going to make the argument that it was religion that caused this, I would push back and say, well, extremism comes in many forms outside of religion. And just as I said, if God didn't exist, we'd have to create him, because people need something to kind of put their trust in. And if it's like some overarching, cause, whether it be, say, a fight for freedom, or say a fight to impose tyranny on those you hate, whatever the case may be, something would be used as a reason to justify, say, 9/11, like a killing of innocent people, like those 19 hijackers used Islam on 9/11. And I'm not of the belief that like anytime something happens and a radical Islamic terrorist is the one who's behind it, that I feel like I'm going to receive a ton of backlash. I'm not with Jafar Ali. Okay. I'm just not going to feel like a victim, every corner I turn. And, when 9/11 happened, obviously I felt somewhat vulnerable, but I felt more vulnerable as an American, not as a Muslim. It was only till later that, I feel like I was sort of taught, or these ideas were sort of baked in that, people who shared the same nationality as me hated me simply because of my religion. But ultimately, people didn't really give a shit about Islam until 9/11 happened. So honestly, I don't blame a lot of the, there's a lot of animosity that happens because of certain extremists, and we know full well that people can just straight up, that one extremist can just taint the entire group of people. And so I know that's not the case here. I mean, like, I know that's the case with 9/11 and how Muslims have been sort of perceived, but we're more than 20 years past 9/11, and there's some people who still hold that like victimhood badge, or that sleeve, that they're like, oh, woe is me, people just hate me because of my faith, and I'm just going to use that to build a brand off. No, fuck that. Just live your life. Just try to be like a contributing member of society like everyone else. Try to be normal. No one really gives a shit about your victimhood.
No, I appreciate
Sorry,
that.
that was a long
I
rant.
think no, I totally get you. I think that the influence of religious dogma is very apparent in many of these extremist attacks. So I'm not so unnuanced that I think it's completely reductive. I get frustrated when people try to deny the influence of religious dogma in these sorts of attacks altogether.
Absolutely.
That drives me insane.
I totally agree with you on that.
So we also, in terms of my organization, or just what I like to talk about in general, is not we like to just talk about fighting dogma in general. And so that's not always religious. Like we like to really criticize the left for the worst impulses of really illiberal progressivism, or really reductive anti-imperialists, or communists. We can fight with communists, but so I completely agree that that religion does not have a monopoly on harmful dogma. It's the denialism that really frustrates me.
Here's a question for you, and Jay and I kind of talk about this quite a bit, and I hope we could get your thoughts on this, since your organization has been focused on the religious aspect of these cultish practices, these cultish ideologies. Has politics supplanted religion as sort of the main dogma that people identify with over religion, in your view?
Give me a location specifically, like North America?
United States. Yeah. United States.
That's tough. In many ways, yes. It's hard to give a full yes or no, because things like QAnon are so obviously highly influenced by aspects of evangelical Christianity. And that just shows up in the polling and study of it as well. But in terms of on the left, this is like my experience. There are issues of really destructive ideologies and thought patterns, or practices that I think are a problem. So it's not everything that I would paint the entire left with. Maybe some sub communities, maybe certain areas. So I live in the Bay Area, and I think we really deal with some of the worst impulses of the left here. And I've experienced a lot of that firsthand. There's just some wild shit that happens, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. I mean, it was really bad. You had religious candles of Fauci or like Mueller or fucking any of these other people that they would
I
go and
went by
get.
a gift shop the other day and they had the little, prayer candles of like AOC and Biden and Kamala and Obama. And I was like, this is so cringe on so many levels. Like, I can't even deal.
It's creepy. It really is. And it's something that they've replaced. I honestly do think there is a lot. Oh my
Hell
God.
yeah. Praise be. Oh my
Praise be
God.
to AOC.
Oh my God. That's amazing.
That's so good.
That's insane. I mean, a lot of people have switched over from religion to politics. I think on the left, and I think it is very apparent because of now these, hate speech laws that they want to put up to push away any type of narrative or speech that goes against their agenda. And I think that has high influence from blasphemy laws, from religion and stuff, because they think that saying different things are going to hurt people's feelings. But these are, to me, everyone has a certain offense level, but they want to pretend like it's going to mask everybody. So like if you joke about trans issues, then you're going to kill all trans people.
Yeah.
So we have to bring that down.
The hyperbole, the hysteria, the histrionics, it drives me crazy. And I used to be that person. I mean, I used to like straight up roll with Antifa. Like, so I get how real it gets. And
so you're no
Siraj's
stranger.
face.
You're no stranger to jihad and jihadism.
Exactly.
None whatsoever.
So my
This is
next
making
question
sense.
for you is raise your right finger, right hand and your right finger. And can you repeat this after me? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, ashhadu anna Muhammadur Rasulullah.
Oh
Well, I'm not going to be able to pronounce it yet, but I have taken the Shahada before. Yes.
You have
She
it.
got it. She has.
We got it. We got it.
Yes.
So now
That's all we needed.
Yeah, since you had already confirmed that you've taken Shahada,
With your
in
finger up.
in your experience as a Muslim woman, Shia, of course, so that anti-Muslim bigotry is not misplaced. All those attacks made by those Hindu ethno-nationalists has been accurate, have they not been?
100%.
Essentially.
Very good. What are you
Yeah,
drinking
There we
tonight?
go. First
Suzanne?
one of the show, baby.
Oh, there you are.
There
What is
we
that?
go.
What is that? What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a Big Daddy IPA.
Hell yeah.
IPA. God damn. You are
I
from
know.
California. God
You
damn.
really are.
Right?
You really are from California.
I can't stand it.
Okay, so we got about 15 more minutes of this very public episode before we get into the more spicy topics for the post show.
Which we haven't been already. Spicy.
It's been pretty spicy already. But when you talk about your experience being part of this leftist ideology / religion, saying that you roll with Antifa, first of all, what led you down that path? And then what led you out of that?
I think so my background of coming from a very conservative right-leaning family and then being a queer person, I have historically had just a very knee-jerk reactionary reaction to conservatism and right-leaning things because it's been such a harmful thing in my life historically. And when you're a young adult and this is what you're starting to realize about yourself, like who is supposed to protect you? Well, obviously it's the left, right?
Mhm.
So that was very easily, okay, so this is who I align with. This is who fights for me. This is who provides me resources. Tells me that I'm okay, that I'm not something broken. And so what really radicalized me was man, okay. When I tell you this stuff, like keep in mind I'm a young adult, okay? Like I'm like yeah, okay. I got really radicalized when Trump was elected. And
Okay.
it was something that blindsided me, like truly.
Are you talking about
And
when he got elected in
the first
2016 or
time.
in 2020?
The first time. So I was 21 when he was first elected.
So
Okay,
the first time. So you do believe
Trump
he's
won
still
in
president.
2020. He's still president. Yes.
Oh, gee, I didn't even catch what you did to me the first time. I was like, what are you talking about?
Can I just tell you one thing? I mean, like this is already known, but like everyone knows I'm basically married to the Kraken lawyer, so
Yeah.
it's extra funny
No, I
because
know,
I get to
I know.
do that. Yeah.
So I when he was elected, I had like just turned 21. I'd been going to school in the Bay Area, like literally pursuing my minor in critical gender and sexuality studies. So you can imagine what kind of rhetoric I was surrounded by.
That sounds
And
like fun.
I perceived this like as I really experienced and felt it as this like existential threat. As a young adult, I really couldn't comprehend how adults all these generations above me were just like letting this happen. I was like, how could they just let this happen? And this is also during the period of time where there's lots of Antifa or like far left agitation in the Bay Area. So within the prior 2 years, there had been, the riots and violence surrounding Milo Yiannopoulos and Ann Coulter showing up at the UC Berkeley campus. And so this is all in my environment, right? And then what really sent me over the edge was the whole kids in cages migrant crisis situation. And of course, now I'm much more informed about how long these policies have been in place and that this preceded Trump and a lot more of the nuance of the situation.
Right.
But I was again hit with this sense of like, this cannot stand. Like I am someone who human suffering is really intolerable to me. And I again could not comprehend how there were all these adults in the world that were letting this happen. And I really deeply felt that if more people just stood up and took action and did something about it, this wouldn't be happening. And so in my area where people have literally expressed to me they come here to get radicalized, who do I see doing
Wait,
something?
well, hold on. Are you in Syria right now? Holy shit, Jay! When did
Or am I?
We learned. I mean, Jay, you talking about Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi earlier?
I know she's got to be in Iran.
She's got to be one of
That's
them.
what it is.
Actually, it's also a running joke in my community that I am a secret agent of Tehran. But anyways, who in my area, who did I see like really taking action, like showing up, doing something, putting boots on the ground, putting knuckles behind what they believed in?
Antifa.
It's Antifa.
ISIS, yeah.
Jihadis.
ISIS, yeah.
So I wasn't as deep into it as a lot of other people that surrounded me were. They like really lived this as a lifestyle and like a deeply held commitment. I think, people who really live that way, they'd be like, who is this bitch? Like, we don't know her. She doesn't like really run that deep. But I'm lucky. I feel glad that I didn't, because it was so much easier for me to realize that I was being dumb as fuck and getting out. But that experience taught me a lot. It gave me a lot of really interesting perspective. And then especially with all the rioting that happened during the summer of 2020, I think I had really firsthand understanding of what it's like to be in a crowd doing these kinds of things. What does that feel like physically? How does that, it's so hard to describe. It almost feels like there's this primal part of your brain that's activated and you're just reacting to things moment to moment, and everything about your experience and physicality is so heightened.
It's like any ass.
You're in like this kind of mob, big group undertaking this thing, and it also made me really freaking angry to see just the like widespread, straight up gaslighting that was coming from liberals and the left about what was really going on. It made me really mad.
What do you mean specifically that they were gaslighting?
So when there was the whole defund the police, and then there were people pushing for abolish the police, and then people would come forward and say, oh, well, when we say abolish the police, we don't really mean abolish the police, we mean blah 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 blah. And I'm like, no, they fucking mean abolish the police. And I know this because I was surrounded by people willing to put knuckles behind this, willing to break windows behind this. They fucking mean what they say. So stuff, and I know they mean what they say because I've seen people getting assaulted personally over shit like this, so I felt
getting
like people
assaulted
were,
for wanting to defund the police, or getting assaulted for being against wanting to defund the police?
Being assaulted for being what my group at the time would have portrayed as far right, white nationalist, that kind of thing.
So
maybe those people actually were. I wouldn't have known at the time.
So would, just as a quick question, would Antifa view Jay and I as far right white nationalists, despite the fact that we're both half brown Muslims?
Let me put my hat on for a second. Honestly, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
So,
mate.
I mean, have you seen me? Look at this.
Yeah,
you're white as fuck, bro.
I'm white as shit. I mean, you just take this beard off, dude. I'm basically in the Klan.
Yeah. Exactly where you where you look like.
Well, you also asked me how I got out.
Yeah, let's hear that. I want to hear that story.
This ties into some of the stuff I was talking before about this period of my life where I was really struggling, where I was studying cult psychology. So I was going through a period of deep mental unwellness, and I think a lot of the radical rhetoric that I was surrounded by really impacted that and enabled that. And so I was just kind of really isolating myself from where I had associated previously, and really trying to, I'm a very self-reflective person. And
me too. I am very self-reflective. That's great to hear. I love people who reflect on a lot of shit. But anyways,
yeah, most of my friends would say that I'm probably too self-critical. And so I started studying cult psychology so that I could understand this burden of shame that I carried around every day, left over as a hangover from growing up in my religious experience. But then what I was not expecting was that when I was learning how to identify destructive organizations, how to identify destructive ideologies, that it started to align very uncannily with a whole different aspect of my life that I was involved in. And I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Hey, look at us. Who would have thought?
Oh, not me.
Yeah. It's well, hold up. I was not prepared for this.
That's exactly what I was how I was thinking when I was in Hezbollah. Because I was like, I just wanted cake. And then they went off and started talking about how we were going to liberate Palestine, and from the river to the sea and all that kind of stuff. So I'm supposed to be here. No cake is worth it. It was good cake. It was good cake. It was.
I have friends who were actually legitimately married into his entire.
Oh no, I have cousins who are actually active in Hezbollah right now. I know I laugh about it because I was there, and I find that these people, as scary as they may be, are still really fun to joke about.
Oh yeah, and you need to. It's so empowering to me. Not that it's so empowering. When I was in this,
We're gonna take them down one ass joke at a time. How many Hezbollah terrorists does it take to eat an ass?
Exactly.
None, because they blew themselves up. What?
When I was in this really, I think of it as very ideologically brittle, very rigid worldview, very radical, very woke. You couldn't joke about anything. You couldn't just like have a laugh about everything. Everything was so serious. Everything was like life and death. Like you make a joke about a group, like you want to do violence against that group. Like you are contributing to people dying. Like it's so serious. And so for me, it is so fun to just laugh about these things and just joke. And it's actually bringing me back to who I naturally am. Like that experience really took away a lot of my own personal curiosity for the world, my own really irreverent, inappropriate behavior or just humor. Yeah. So I think that's something that's very, very important.
Yeah. It's part of the reason why I created something like the list, because at some point people online take themselves way too seriously. And the only way to sort of undercut or undermine them is to just laugh at them, because they don't realize how ridiculous they sound. And ultimately, I mean, that's how I feel about politics by and large, is that, you know, the absurdity of it, you just have to laugh at it, because if you take this shit too seriously, you're just going to just make yourself miserable.
Yeah.
Which is why we drink specifically when we do this show.
That's actually why I'm such a huge Habibti. Like I've been a Habibti from the beginning. And I really like you guys because you guys are more right-leaning than I am. And so I try to have a really diverse content diet. One, because I think it helps me argue for my own positions better. And two, just because I'm I'm a curious person. And I like to watch your show because it gives me a perspective that I maybe wouldn't have considered before, or maybe issues that I wouldn't have thought of as important, but you maybe give me like a new perspective. And also you guys are fucking hilarious. And it's so much more enjoyable, and you guys aren't loons. Like I do watch, you know, like real hardcore, like Trumpers, and I can't take them seriously. Their reasoning is shit. The information that they bring to their audiences oftentimes is shit. It's not credible. But you guys are very thoughtful. And I think my favorite thing is how brazen you guys are, especially obviously Jay. One thing I really appreciate coming out of my whole experience is a certain brazenness, outrageousness, provocativeness, particularly from men, because I was just in so many environments where that's seen as inherently toxic and horrible. But I love it.
Yeah. Well, before we go to the after show, let's take a couple quick questions from the Habibis who are currently watching. I know we have a question here from Blake Bai, who said, by the way, before we continue on with this question, I have to stipulate that Blake Bai should resign from his post as councilman of Hillsborough. If he doesn't, we will be incensed and forced to riot like Antifa, and Susanna would be forced to take up that mantle and lead the charge and train the Habibis to riot, because she has that professional experience. So Blake Bai
can I tell you something funny?
Yeah, let's hear it.
When you guys were making, it was several episodes ago, you were making jokes about Blake being bisexual, and I was actually really excited because I was like, oh my God, another bisexual Habibi. And I was like, oh wait.
It's just his last name.
Yeah. I was like, representation.
All right.
Just another reason why Blake should resign.
That's another reason. Thank you.
reason.
Thank you for providing that reason. We now have ties to Blake being part of Antifa. Stone cold right there.
Guilt by association.
Guilt by association. Blake By says, respectfully, Susanna, as an atheist, how do you believe the universe and life was founded?
I don't know. And I don't have to know to think that it's beautiful and insane, an incomprehensible, tiny chance of probability for something as exquisite and painful to occur. And because I don't know, I don't think that takes anything away from observing the beauty and awe of that experience. And because I don't know, I don't think that the answer is necessarily anything sentient or intelligent behind it.
What I'm
So,
hoping for is that God was getting his ass eaten and he farted and the universe was created.
Hey, look, I'm blurry again. Thank
SubhanAllah.
Oh man, Carl Ferris is yet another woman disappointed by Blake. Josh Goldsmith, Blake might be bi for Susanna. Strap on and see.
Oh my goodness.
So as a follow-up to that question that Blake asked, so you don't necessarily say, and I respect this position of saying, you know, I don't have all the answers, and I'm not expecting you to believe me, but I just don't believe it. I don't believe in a higher power creating all of this. I don't believe in a God or a supreme being. I won't tell you how to live your life, which you've already stipulated. But if you want to be a part of what I believe, which is not believing in this, I will provide those resources for you so you can still feel like you have a sense of community and not be targeted with your life, right?
Mm-hmm. Wait, did Siraj just become an ex-Muslim? No, I'm kidding.
I'm so blurry. Allah's protecting me. SubhanAllah.
I mean, I actually think like it's okay if I like tell you or make recommendations about how you should live your life. Like I do have opinions on it. I just don't demand it, and I don't
Right.
you know, tell people that they're going to suffer eternal torture if they don't. So that's a big difference.
Yeah.
Or that's not the consequence. That's not the
Right.
consequence in my belief system.
So like for me, I guess I have a very forgiving view of people who say go astray. Like I think there is good, I think there's evil, and I think the people who are truly evil, I think those people be punished. But I think for everyone else, there's like some middle ground. There's like basically some gray area where you know, people fuck up all the time. It happens. Like I'm not perfect by any stretch of the means. I am, if anything, I am probably like the black sheep of my family, simply because I just don't share.
You're not a doctor or a lawyer.
I'm not a doctor or lawyer. I married a Jew who's
you can't do math.
I can't do math. I am blurry all the time. I'm a boomer, and I just get into fights with people online all the time, and I'm unemployed. So, but that being said, I still consider myself a devout Muslim, even though most people would probably call me an apostate or a heathen, or just say that I'm not a Muslim. Do you think there's any room in the world for people like that? I mean, like, Susanna, what I'm asking you is, would there ever be a time in your life that you could foresee not becoming religious, but simply acknowledging that there is a higher power, or acknowledging that there is a God or a supreme being that is, say, in control of all of this? Like that it's not just all random, it's not all chaos.
At this point in my life, I don't think I would be moved to hold that position unless I was given some pretty substantive evidence.
Okay, so like money. Okay, so if CARE hired you for double your salary at Atheist Republic, you convert to Islam again?
Again, she was a Catholic.
She said she took Shahada.
She did. So, and she never denounced it. So
That's-
she
Well,
still
Jay,
is
you
Muslim.
should know that we're all born Muslim, you know, but
That's
we're led
actually true.
astray,
Exactly.
we're corrupted.
That's
So I would
exactly
just be
right.
reverting. Okay, I'd be coming home.
That's true.
We've all been taken out of Adam's, I think it was Adam's rib altogether, and we swore a covenant to God before being born.
Exactly.
Every human
Well-
being in the world, existing or not.
Well,
So really, if you're not Muslim, you're all ex-Muslim.
exactly.
that's all true. So we're gonna
Think
take
about
this over to our bonus content behind the paywall. So if you want to stick around, go ahead and subscribe to us on Patreon, patreon.com/Habibi Bros, and watch the rest of the episode on there.